Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara, and the voice of the Iowa Hawkeyes, the legendary Gary Dolphin joins us. Dolph, good to see you again. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me on.
Truly my pleasure. Thank you. So you and I were talking off camera. Let's get into it right away. There is so much to talk about on this campus. We're at the Fellow Room at Carver Hawkeye Arena, as you can see here, beautiful University of Iowa campus on a glorious sunny Wednesday afternoon, November 29th. So Dolph, we were talking off camera as we both chuckled here, and let's bring it on camera. What a fall it has been on the University of Iowa campus for athletics, with women's soccer, women's field hockey making the NCAA tournaments and being top 10 ranked throughout the year. Unfortunate early end for both teams, but congratulations to both teams. Women's wrestling is rocking and rolling, and my goodness, what a debut they had at Carver Hawkeye Arena right here a couple of weeks ago. And of course, Bluter's Bunch, Caitlin Clark and crew. And I don't want to short sell any of the other athletic programs, gymnastics or swimming, but let's stick to the fall because we'll be here all day. But today, you and I were going to talk primarily men's basketball and men's football, because tonight is the men's basketball game against North Florida here at Carver Hawkeye, so thanks again for coming in early. So let's you and I start with football before we get to basketball and Fran's guys. Give me some of your thoughts and takeaways. And of course, the Big Ten teams were announced for all conference and led by Cooper DeJean and Torrey Taylor on defense and special teams, and Jay Higgins. And then offense, there were a wealth of guys, linemen and LeSean Williams, that were honorable mentions, and third team coaches and media. But let's stick to the team at large right now in general. Your takeaway this early through the season, Dolph.
Yeah, 20 players named all conference, 12 on defense, which makes total sense. Yeah. Of course, I'm really happy for LeSean Williams, number one. Cooper DeJean, I figured he would get the defensive back of the year award, and they gave him the punting or special teams award as well, yep. Punt returner. So that's terrific, because the guy's got so much Niall Kinnick, Tim Dwight, Christian McCaffrey in him, little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot to prove to come up to that level of those three, but he's got a lot of great football ahead of him. I talked to him last week at Nebraska, and he's happy to report that his leg is healing nicely. Same type injury that the young guy from Zach Zinter from Michigan
yes.
Incurred against Ohio State last Saturday. Their best offensive lineman. That's a big loss for the Wolverines. But, you know, if you read the national writers, I get a kick out of it. Iowa's got no chance in this game, and they've been a punchline offensively all season long. And you know, half these guys that are throwing barbs at Iowa probably never wore a jockstrap in their life. So
I always make the joke, guys, the cup goes to the front, not the back, right? They've never won one in their life. You're right.
Obviously, Iowa's had some issues on offense in terms of points and yardage, but the bottom line is most of those games are in the left-hand column. Yep. 10-2, you can stretch it, twist it, turn it any way you want. It's 10-2. They're West Division champs by 2 games, I might add. And now they are heavy underdogs going into the Michigan game on Saturday night. And Michigan is a great football team. This might be the fastest defense they've ever had in Ann Arbor. Is it the best? I'll tell you what, I saw the one 2 years ago in Indy, and with Aiden Hutchison leading the way, and they had great linebackers, really strong down linemen. Might not be as fast as this Michigan team, but it's every bit as talented 2 years ago. That said, Michigan is good on both sides of the line of scrimmage. J.J. McCarthy is the real deal. Their offensive line is big and quick off the ball. They got 2 outstanding running backs, actually great running back in Corum, and an all-purpose back in Donovan Edwards.
Yep.
The 2 tight ends, particularly the young guy who transferred in from Indiana this year after Eric All transferred to Iowa. Yep. He had a great game against the Buckeyes. But I'm so confident in the Iowa defense, Dave, led by those linebackers, Higgins and Jackson, the top 2 tacklers in tandem in the Big Ten this year. You know, Joe Evans has had a knockout year, which we knew he would. And Ethan Hurkett jumps in there on Friday at Lincoln, and Deontay Craig, they rested him precautionary, but Deontay will be back. So they've got Phil Parker's plug and play is just so doggone consistent and steady year after year after year. I get asked that question more than any. What is it about Iowa's defense? They're just smart. They're cerebral. Yep. They stay in their lane. They guard their yard. They play their gaps. They don't jump in and out of gaps. There's a lot of movement, but Phil Parker has them so disciplined and they're eye watchers. They tell you one and all. They're always watching the quarterback's eyes, and from that they get a great read.
Yeah.
And then when you add in the best punter in the country, in my view, and Torrey Taylor, for a lot of reasons, hang time, placement. He talks to the football when it's on its way down. Okay, stop at the 4 and come back up 5 yards. I've said all year that the special teams and the defense are joined at the hip. They are one and the same. And that's why I think Iowa's got a chance.
Dolph, let's take our first quick break here. We've got into it big time here in this first segment, and I love it. Great to see you again. In the past, we've done this. This is our annual visit with you, and from Carver Hawkeye Arena, and overall the past other umpteen years you've joined me on radio. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. And buckle up, folks. Dolph's going to join us for the next 2 segments as well for the whole show. He's the voice of the Iowa Hawkeyes, legendary Gary Dolphin. And I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Gary Dolphin, legendary Hawkeye voice of athletics here for 27 years now, men's basketball and football. So, Dolph, as we've talked over the years, on the air, off the air, well, let's bring it on the air, what you've seen from this football team, we'll spend a little bit more time digging into football. We got up to recent history. Let's go back from the start of the season and how it has progressed throughout the year. Brian Ferentz being let go is going to be able to finish the year out as the offensive coordinator. You add in Cade McNamara going out in the fourth, I believe it was the middle of the 4th game. You got Eric All going down with an injury. Luke Lachey before that with an injury. All guys lost for the year, and now Cooper DeJean done for everything the last couple of games, and now obviously the Big Ten championship game and the bowl game. There's 4 marquee players right there. To say there's been a lot going on this year, Dolph, would be a major understatement.
Yeah, and the one word label I would give this football team, especially the offense, is resilient.
Yeah.
I mean, we were so excited coming into the year about Cade McNamara, about Eric All, about Rusty Feth, who has really played well on the offensive line for some injured players here of late. And then Luke Lachey, all Big Ten. Cooper DeJean, All-American. And you don't have any of those guys. You have Feth, certainly, but Dejon Parker, who was in their 2 deeps all year but never got to play, a right tackle from a transfer portal pickup from Saginaw Valley. Kirk Ferentz loves the guy, but he's just never healthy enough.
And Noah Shannon with
play.
the whole gambling controversy.
I was going to come to that next. Probably your best interior returning lineman, certainly your most veteran and salty. Y.A. Black's had a great year.
Yep.
Noah Shannon, right or wrong, and most people think he was wronged, not play a down this year in his senior year. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was mind-boggling. The offensive line was a lot of moving parts for 7 or 8 games this season. LeSean Williams, Caleb Johnson, Jazz Patterson all missed significant time. Now all 3 are back healthy, and that gives them a 3-headed monster, in my view, in running the football Saturday. So, steady Eddie defense, steady Eddie special teams. Very few injuries incurred there, thankfully, and led by the guy in the middle, Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson. What a tandem. Think about this. Jackson comes in the spring and summer from Virginia, never met Jay Higgins before in his life, and the 2 guys put together a 200 tackle a season. It's just that might be the story of the year on defense, other than Cooper DeJean just being who he is. And then up front, Ethan Hurkett. I loved Ethan Hurkett his freshman year, Dave.
Yeah.
When he was
Cedar
running,
Rapids kid from Xavier.
Yeah. He's running across the field, ran down a quarterback from behind, and then pulled up lame and injured a knee as he was going out of bounds. Didn't play the rest of the year. And now look at him, and he's got a couple years left. Joe Evans, I don't know if there's anybody I love more on the team than Joe Evans. Walked on, Ames High School, earned a scholarship, and now he's a finalist for the award they give to former walk-ons. I mean, Joe, undersized, but man, does he have sonar, does he have GPS when it comes to getting to the quarterback and getting in the backfield. And Torrey Taylor, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
He dropped 15 pounds in the offseason because he wanted to increase his leg speed. I said, explain that. He goes, well, I knew I'd lose some leg strength, But and this is how these guys study their position, because he wants to play in the NFL, and he will play in the NFL. And he said leg speed increases hang time, also improves your accuracy. So I wanted to land it on the numbers more this year, because if you kick it right down the middle, it sets yourself up for a good return. So I wanted to angle toward a sideline, kind of pin the guy on the side. This is how Torrey Taylor thinks.
Yeah.
So again, it's that head coach and his incredible staff who have been together for a long time. Abdul Hodge has been here a couple of years, Liddell. I mean, Kirk always finds the right guys, many of them former players.
Yeah.
They know the Iowa system. They know what kind of players they want. They've been doing it for 25 years, and I mean, who can argue with 22 bowl bids out of 25 seasons?
Yeah, hard to argue with that. Dolph, you've called it all year. You've had a front row seat from the press box. You've seen it all. What a year Jay Higgins has had.
He obviously has the patience of Job.
Yes.
But he also is a quick study. He's a learner. And he's been watching Jack Campbell and Seth Benson and others for the past couple of years. And just to sit there and work hard, go hard, and practice every day, knowing that he's not going to play ahead of Jack Campbell. And he was spelling Seth Benson a lot, and he was getting a lot of time on special teams, and that comes back to the Iowa way. You cut your teeth on special teams, and if you perform well there, you're going to see the field. And so I love the guy. He is one of, wasn't heavily recruited. I think Kirk mentioned he had a couple MAC, Mid-America Conference offers. Tough kid out of Indy. And look at him now. And now he's going to his hometown. How fitting is that?
Yes.
That Jay Higgins gets to play in a Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis. You don't think he'll be stoked? He'll be flying all over that turf on Saturday.
Well, he already said his dad is hitting him up for tickets. So family, friends, coaches.
He doesn't have enough tickets.
No, he didn't have enough. That's for sure. But I'll tell you, Dolph, that's the fun part of this year, is to see guys like Jay Higgins. That's one of many. Le'Shawn Williams, as you and I both talked about it. It's just great to see some of these guys, when they've gotten their opportunity, haven't complained, haven't moaned. They just stepped in when they were ready. And as you said, they bided their time, patience of Job, well stated by you. And then they observed, and then it was time. They hit their mark and ran.
One position group we really haven't talked about is wide receiver. And Deacon's going to have to hit some plays in the passing game, because Michigan will be like everybody else. They're going to overload the tackle box. Hawks will probably go a lot of 3 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back for a few series or quite a few plays to keep Michigan, because they're going to blitz Big Deacon. It's coming.
Yep.
And he's going to have to get rid of the ball and make some plays in the passing game, because they're going to gang up on the run. But Iowa's seen that all year, and so their timing on those middle zone blocking schemes has been much, much better. And when you got a guy with the heart of Le'Shawn Williams, that should open up some things for Nico Reganey and Seth Anderson, and hopefully Caleb Brown is back completely healthy. Even if he's 85-90%, that kid can really fly, and he's going to take coverage with him, so that'll help.
And all 3 of those guys have had big catches throughout the year, and even Deontay Vines. When all those guys are healthy, when Deacon is needed to go to them, or Cade McNamara, they've made some big catches for big games. But Dolph, what a year it has been. Can't wait to look into the bowl season after this Big Ten championship game against Michigan on Saturday in Indianapolis, as you said. 10-2 Hawkeyes, a 7-2 in the Big Ten, as you said, a 2-game gap to win the Big Ten West. What a year it has been. So let's you and I take a brief pause. When we come back, we'll close out talking about Fran McCaffrey's guys, the men's basketball team here at the University of Iowa. Folks, he is Gary Dolphin, longtime legendary voice of the Iowa Hawkeyes, 27 years now calling men's basketball and football here at the University of Iowa. If you're in Dubuque, or when you're in Dubuque, go to Gary Dolphin's Iron Bar. I was there. I told you this last summer.
Yes, you were.
Yes, what a great place that is, and just a chance to kick back, enjoy some good food and drink, and rest and relax. So go to Gary Dolphin's Iron Bar in downtown Dubuque, and you'll be glad you did. The old mill work area,
the old factory district. Yeah, I mean, if you like, if you're a rabid Hawkeye fan, you'll like all the memorabilia hanging around, and we've got a great outdoor courtyard that'll seat a couple hundred people with a jumbo flat screen out there, big gigantic.
That's where I was. Even when it was warm, it's shaded, so it's very nice.
Yeah, on Hawkeye game day, it's packed out there in September, October, November. Great year, and who wouldn't want to watch this Iowa team, right?
Well stated. And what better place than Gary Dolphin's Iron Bar in Dubuque? So we'll be back with more to close out the show of Hawkeye. I'm Dave O'Hara. He's Gary Dolphin. Back with more in just a few moments.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seat company that's chasing technology or a seat company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. Gary Dolphin joins us. Been kind enough to join us throughout the show, our third and final segment here. Dolph, of course, the legendary longtime voice of the Iowa Hawkeyes, men's football and men's basketball. So, Dolph, let's get into Franz, guys, this year. What a game it should be. We're going to get to see more tonight against North Florida. We're here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. As you can see, the beautiful Feller Room here. Pre-game Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon late before the Wednesday night game here on November 29th. So, Dolph, we've seen 6 games so far of the Hawkeyes. Been 4-2, lost to a tough Oklahoma team, a little tougher than some people thought. Gave Creighton a good fight early in the year when Creighton was ranked 8th, and now they're in the top 15 or 16. Greg McDermott's guys from Omaha in Creighton. But what a season it has been to see the development of new young talent. We realized or figured, Peyton Sanford is going to do some big things. I think Ben Krikke has been as advertised and even more, Dolph.
I agree with you. I mean, Ben's, he and Peyton Sanford are leading the team in scoring. Ben's actually the leading scorer with 18 points and 5 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
And he led the Missouri Valley in scoring a year ago, Dave, as you know, 21.7 rebounds. So his numbers, when they transcend or carry over to the Big Ten, or the Iowa Hawkeyes, Big Ten's coming down the road.
Quickly.
He's keeping that level of high quality play going. Now, this game with North Florida is important because it's the only one this week before they face number 1 ranked Purdue at Mackey Arena on Monday night, and so that's good and bad. I mean, they can rest up the legs because next week, coming in succession, Purdue at Iowa State and then home to Michigan. 3 tough games, 2 of them on the road. But I think they're ready for it. I'll tell you, that Creighton game really told me a lot.
Yes.
About this Iowa, the character, Fran's ability, his staff's ability. Matt Gatens had the scout for that game to coach him up. And I think we'll see more the true Iowa team off that game than we will any other. Now, it's early. I mean, we're only a fifth of the way through the season. And full confession, I was not in San Diego last week. I was with the football team. So I got to see bits and pieces of the Oklahoma game on Thursday night. Didn't see any of Seton Hall, but I listened to quite a bit of it once we got back to Iowa here from Lincoln. And they took good care of the basketball. Mm-hmm. They moved the ball. They got Seton Hall. They got a lot of fouls. They got to the free throw line. And so that's what they have to do. They have to attack, get the opposing team in foul trouble. And they've been masterful at taking care of the basketball. Their assist-to-turnover ratio is off the charts. And that is a Fran McCaffrey staple.
Yep.
So once we get to beyond tonight and get to next week, no different in football.
Yeah.
Don't turn it over.
Yeah.
And rebounding. Rebounding is better. They know it's got to get better than better. And if that happens, then they're not giving up as many second shots.
And to your point, great show the other night with your first show for this season with Fran McCaffrey and Bobby Hansen. And again, viewers, go to the YouTube channel for Iowa Hawkeye Athletics, or depending on what your cable or local TV provider is on various TV channels. But I thought, and your great work with Kirk Ferentz all year during your coach's show with him too, very good insights. But what I loved about what Fran had said to you and Bobby, I don't think the media is kind of, I think the media is kind of sleeping on this team, and Fran seems almost like with that Cheshire grin of like, okay, go ahead and underestimate us. Kirk has done a great job, Ferentz, with taking that over from Harbaugh in Michigan as, nobody likes us, everybody hates us mentality. But I think Fran is just sitting back with the talent you just mentioned, and not to mention DeSante Bowen was leading the country there for a while with assist-to-turnover ratio with like 18 assists to 2 turnovers. Of course, Tony Perkins is going to be rock solid. We talked about Krikke and Peyton, but Patrick McCaffrey. And then that line change you makes with those freshmen, Dembele, and with Freeman and Harding, and then you've got Dix coming back from last year. Price Sanford and hopefully Evan Bronze, as Fran had told you, would like to get some more time. There's 10, 11 guys. Now we'll see as the year goes on. As you know, Dolph, when you mentioned those games with Michigan or Purdue, Iowa State, and Michigan upcoming, and as we get deeper into the Big Ten season, we'll see how those minutes are meted out. That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ratchet things down until we get to January. By then, he'll have 5-6 more games against quality competition. Northern Illinois has got a good team. They come into Carver
Yes.
in late December. But next week is particularly for the freshmen. Now, that's why San Diego last week and Creighton, those were great games on the scheduled by the coaches. Because you want to throw a few tough ones in there. You don't want your first-year players getting down mentally on each other against powerhouse after powerhouse. Get some games you know you can win, you know you can play well, and the Hawks have been consistent in that area. Now they didn't shoot well against Oklahoma, but back-to-back games like that against quality, Big 12 and Big East opponents. Was much more like what you'll see in the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
And as Fran pointed out the other night, and we get a day off in between. So, and what his point was, the nice bounce-back win against Seton Hall is going to go a long way in terms of how these guys pace themselves. If you have to play if you do play in the NCAA tournament, but also in the Big Ten, as you know, those games come in a hurry.
Yes.
You're playing 20 games. They're rapid fire. They're against physical juggernauts every night out. And so I thought last week in San Diego, this will prepare them quite well for next week and for the Big Ten competition going forward.
And to your point from earlier, I think this freshman class, these young guys have showed they don't get shaken or rattled easy. What Owen Freeman is doing, that stuff, a big man, and you just mentioned how physical things get, especially in the Big Ten. This young guy doesn't seem to have a problem with that. It's almost like bring it on.
He invites contact.
Yeah.
He's a Big Ten Freshman of the Week.
Yep.
This past week. Keep in mind he just played on a state championship team.
Yeah.
The large school state champions in Illinois. That's pretty good competition. Yep. High school basketball, and they've got two Mr. Basketballs. They've got Price Sanford from Iowa, and of course Brock Harding, the Owens teammate at Moline High, at the point guard, and he doesn't take guff from anybody.
No, he does not.
He gets after it. And he's just a skinny kid right now, but he's going to get stronger and tougher if that's possible. But he's so headstrong.
Yeah.
And I do want to bring up, you mentioned Josh Dix. I said at the beginning of the year, Bobby and I were talking that even though this sophomore class is a small class, we need for DeSante and to Josh to step up, and maybe not step up is the right term, but mature faster, sooner than later. And they have. Josh had a terrific game against Seton Hall. Bowen has been solid from get-go till now. And so you have that kind of depth. You get into the Big Ten and you're playing Iowa State and teams like that. That's really going to go a long way in determining where you go in March.
Yeah, and you talk about sales, or we were talking off the air about headstrong people. And Brock Harding, I always say his salesmanship must be something, because he got Owen Freeman to leave the Chicago area, or Bourbonnais, to come to Rock Island right across the bridge from Quad Cities, where they won a state title in Illinois or played for a state title. And Mr. Basketball, as you mentioned, Brock Harding in Illinois, and Price Sanford. And I hope Price can get his shot back like his older brother, because early in this season he stumbled a little bit, but it's early, like you said. We're only a fifth of the way through. I think if Price can do what we know Price can do, Sanford, I think we're going to, and again, that happens, as you mentioned, ebb and flow, young guys, and there's just a handful of games.
Yeah, he's a first-year player. I mean, he has not played competition like this, but we all know the Sanford bloodline is pretty good.
I think they're competitors through and through, and we're going to be having Peyton on again this year as we did last year, and we talked about having Peyton and Price on, and even Peyton, who likes to give it to his younger brother a little bit, the needle, and he said too.
Brotherly love.
Yes, he said he's going to find his way, and I agree with you 100%. It's early, and I think when Price starts getting that stroke down. But again, is there nothing better to watch than a big guy like Ben Krikke, as we talked about with his press coming in? To see a big lefty like that, just seems like a lefty has a smoother shot like that. My goodness, is he something to watch. And now Dolph, the way he was taking the ball to the hoop the last couple of games and finding his way against Oklahoma and Seton Hall. You mentioned it earlier, I mentioned it earlier, but previous to that, Ben Krikke is something I think we're all going to be very happy by the end of the year.
That mid-range jump shot he showed at Creighton, in a tremendous arena setting with 18,000 people that didn't like him, and his step back left-handed swoosh of the brush.
Over a 7-footer like Kalkbrenner is no easy task.
Well, they knew that Kalkbrenner wasn't going to chase him out.
That's right.
To the wing, and so Ben said, "I'll keep shooting it." He's shooting 62% from the field. He's 6'9", he's 240 pounds, and he's not afraid of contact. He can rebound. He is he is everything we thought he could be, and then some.
Yeah.
And hopefully he stays healthy. He paces himself to where he can go 30, 31 games, and we know he can.
Dolph, it's always fun stuff. The time goes so quickly. Have a great call tonight. We're here at Carver Hawkeye Arena in the Feller Room, as you can see, on Wednesday afternoon before the Wednesday night tip on November 29th against North Florida. So, Dolph, it's always great seeing you, and thanks so much.
You too, Dave. Glad to be here.
Truly my pleasure. For Gary Dolphin, the voice of the Iowa Hawkeyes, longtime legendary, into 27 years now, calling football and basketball for the University of Iowa men's teams. Of course, getting ready for that Big Ten championship game as well. So for Gary Dolphin, I'm Dave O'Hara on Hawkeye, and thanks to my production partner, Michael Merrick, and to you, the viewers. For Hawkeye, that's all from me. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.